Yo, what's poppin', guys? Um, Welcome to the scent bubble. Today we have a great fragrance, and we talked about a designer house before, so I thought it'd be dope to go into clones and dupes. Um, I'm not a big fan of the word, and I think a lot of times the definitions get kind of thrown up in the air. Let me take these off; they're unnecessary. Um, there's a clear difference between something that's inspired by and something that is trying to copy something. Um, and because we never see from the house and the language can be a bit ambiguous on what their intent is, a lot of times we're left up in the air wondering, is it a clone or is it not, or should it be? There's some weird culture where we associate dupes and clones with cheaper materials and cheaper quality. There's some truth to that. But to be quite frank, I don't really want to get into it that deep because I don't care. Dupe and clone and inspired by culture is a thing in the fragrance community. And because of it, so many people that would never have had the opportunity to get their nose on all of the nuance and beauty in the fragrance community, they would have never have been able to do so unless clones, dupes, and inspired buys came onto the scene because they're cheaper. Number one, first and foremost. And they're not always cheaper due to quality, as we can see now. I remember when I was in the fragrance community just learning about new things, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw a video that said the top 5 clones that you must have in your fragrance collection. And I said, what in the heck is a clone? And to my shock and awe, I realized I learned two new things that day. One, there are fragrances that are hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars that I knew nothing about. I was coming from a world of $100 and $200 scents at the very most. So I learned that there's way more niche fragrance out there that's very expensive. And then two, I learned that clones existed and dupes and all of the above. And I said, how is that even possible? And then you go down the rabbit hole of, being out of the jurisdiction of the United States and, um, the ambiguity of a clone, how they can change the language in their marketing and all this stuff. And then I saw, just flat out straight copycatting going on. But anyways, my mind was blown that not only that was happening, but that most people could get away with it and that people were celebrating this. That there were actually clones and dupes and inspired buys that were one to one, sometimes better than the original fragrance, and in many cases made of same ingredients. And how cheap they were really shocked me as well. The fact that I could get a $200-300 scent for 20, 30, 40, $50. Wow. Now I can actually look at the art and the beauty of the fragrance world because I can try more things. Now I'm not just stuck at my local store where they, are carrying the same 20 carriers on the shelf, and I can actually explore the niche world and just get my nose on different things. And so that kind of sparked my clones and dupes and inspired buys sparked they enabled first off they sparked my interest in the fragrance world even more than growing up and just kind of generally liking good scents. It sparked my curiosity for what else is out there because I could actually afford it. Um, and so led me down the rabbit hole of saying, well, wow, what are some of the best scents in the world? And so I think from that standpoint alone, inspiring people to feel like they can be a part of a community that was once expensive and exclusive, that was a beautiful thing. Now, I normally like to, you're in my scent bubble here. So I normally like to start my episodes with a story. So I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about that. On to the good stuff. Today we are talking about a clone. I don't even like using the word. Again, the definitions are so in the air. I'm just going to call it inspired by fragrance. This fragrance is coming to you from the house of Lataffa, and it is Maahir Legacy. Now, in the clone world, or yeah, I'm going to stop using that word from this point forward. In the fragrance world, I always heard of Parfums de Marly's kind of heavy hitters. Leighton, Carlisle, Pegasus. And every now and again I would hear the name Sedley. And so naturally, as I'm going through these scents, I come across Sedley's note breakdown and I say, would this even be something I would remotely like to enjoy? Because I absolutely love Carlisle as a scent profile. Leighton, cool. Pegasus, cool. However, and again, just to be clear, I know we're on the conversation of clones and dupes. I have smelt the original of all of those fragrances. But at some point I said, what does Sedley smell like? And then I began to hear videos that talked about a clone of Sedley or an inspired by of Sedley. And it led me to Maahir Legacy. Very highly rated on Amazon and various carriers as a 1-to-1 of Sedley. Now, let me tell you what stood out to me on this note breakdown here. What stood out to me is, here's the original of Sedley in terms of note breakdown. Top, lemon, mint, bergamot, grapefruit, mandarin orange. In the mid, lavender, rosemary, geranium, olibanum. And in the base, ambroxan, cariot, sandalwood, cashmerean, vetiver, cedar, and patchouli. Fruity, floral, woody, spicy. But this mint, grapefruit, lemon accord, and with geranium in the mid, always stuck out to me because it's a profile I haven't really smelled a lot of. But let me tell you what intrigued me about Maahir Legacy. This lime. I have not smelled a lot of fragrances with lime in it, and I've heard a lot of fragrance content creators talk about how good lime can be in a fragrance. It provides something different than just general citruses, kind of your go-to citruses. And so I said, wow, that lime mint accord, what's kind of reminds me of like a mojito or something. And just off that top note alone, and again, I know that in the dry down, you're mostly getting base. However, having that in the opening had my curiosity going. On this Maahir Legacy, you have a lot of interesting top note fruitiness buried kind of behind what looks to be spices, greenery, woods, and berries. Anyways, I was very intrigued by this, and I said, I've got to get my nose on it. It's only $26 currently on Amazon. So I waited and waited and waited, and it is finally here. Now, I've been smelling it as we've been talking about it, but let me just get a new, this is a dry test strip. Let me get a new take on this. Again, I'm going to go test strip, and I'm going to go on the arm, just a hint. Bottle presentation, as you can see, the smear marks are insane. It's unique. However, this big hunk of old metal, it looks like kind of a relic that your rich this looks like this was like your rich grandpa's OG best fragrance in his collection type vibes. Cap, whatever, it locks in, but it spins around. Who cares? 100 ml, $26. I could care less. Let's smell it on the test strip. Okay. You know what? I'm a little frazzled here. There we go. That's what I was looking for. For some reason, I thought I had grabbed the wrong test strip. In the opening, you do get that lime and mint. I hate looking at note breakdowns. The cool thing about note breakdowns is for a newbie, it helps your nose to get clarity on certain things that you smell. Bottom line is, does it smell good? Answer is yes, smells fantastic. But in terms of how your nose is exploring a fragrance and seeing all the nuance and what parts about a fragrance you might like, looking at the note breakdown is nice, but you do have to take it with a grain of salt. Not everything on the note breakdown might be factual, to be honest. And I mean factual in the sense of, could you even smell it? Or how much of each note is in there? It's not getting a 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 spread down the clock with each of these ingredients. We don't know how much of these ingredients are in there. What's the star of the show? So at some point, you absolutely have to block that out of your mind and just trust your nose. What do I get? I certainly get a mojito vibe off the top. The lime, the mint, the grapefruit, lavender, somewhat, but this is very bright up top. The pineapple I can see contributing to that kind of grapefruit, limey. Again, think mojito on the top. Now in the mids, it just gets complex after the top, to be honest with you. After I smell kind of that lime, citrus, throw the notes away for a second. This is going to sound strange, but when I first smelled this, I thought, this kind of smells like Silver Mountain water-ish. It's watery. It's metallic somewhat. Like, again, that rainwater on metal kind of vibe. That silvery metallicness. But it's kind of watered down in a sense on my nose. But that's kind of like coating this citrusy lime mint dominant. The mint in there is like a slight coolness to it. It's got like in the air, it's very like cooling. It's got a cooling sensation on my nose. So the mint is definitely there. It's not overpowering. It's playing a role. It's just kind of adding to the experience. And then I can kind of in the base get some of those like woods, to be honest with you. That's what I get, that vetiver, along with maybe some other woods. But overall, very citrusy, lime dominant, mint. I get greenery in the mid, okay? And then sitting on woods, kind of down the cedarish avenue in terms of that kind of, I don't know, soury, piney type vibe on the back, but it's very sophisticated. There's complexity to this scent. Is there, again, I'm freestyling. I'm new to fragrance world. I'm not trying to be some type of educator. I'm just sharing my love of fragrance. So take it with a grain of salt. On my hand or on my arm, it smells similar. You know, as I was saying before with Ecus, when I reviewed that fragrance, much different on a test strip than the hand. Whereas on the skin, it kind of warms up, but same profile for me. Going from the test strip to the arm is pretty 1-to-1 for me. Again, cost $26 for me on Amazon. So just call it, you know, $15, $20, $30 range. Bottle size 100 ml. And for me, notes aside, I kind of get this limey, minty mojito on coated in rainwater on silver, metallic. And then all that on the dry down, you kind of get some woods that kind of sit way behind that. But it's very fresh and very light, even in its complexity. Where would I wear this? This is a freshie for me. Yeah, I would wear this out of the shower. It's not like linear, like a Encre Noir Sport or something like that. It's not like or like a Cool Water or something like that. It's the next step up from shower scent. It's like this would be the shower scent of a guy who's got some money, because it has sophistication even in its kind of fresh, aquatic-y, limey vibe. It's a fun fragrance, and it wears a little bit more interesting than like a a body spray. Way more interesting than that. But what I mean is kind of, it's got such a sophistication where somebody wouldn't smell this on you and think, oh, you just got out of the shower kind of vibe. Like, it can carry beyond the shower. Um, it it projects really nicely. I think this is more of like a sillage scent, not a room filler, but scent trail worthy. And again, I think I would wear this fresh out of the shower and feel pretty good about myself. You know, as far as it's smelling a little bit more upper class than some of my go-to freshies out of the shower. You can wear this at the gym. Super casual, super laid back with this fragrance, but again, there's a sophistication there, and that's what I love. Even with a light scent or a casual scent, you can still have complexity, you can still have intrigue and draw, and this scent absolutely does that for me. I think again with the lime and the mint, this fragrance is providing something that not a lot of fragrances in my collection provide in terms of scent profile. So I'm really happy I got this. It's definitely a blind buy because I haven't. Sedley's the only fragrance I haven't actually tried. So I was blind buying this, and I was just trusting a lot of reviewers on YouTube and reviews in the comments and things like that to pull the trigger on this fragrance. And I'm glad that I did. Sometimes you got to step outside the box if you don't got to cut off your arm to do it. So again, yeah, application, casual, fresh shower, going out to a park, outdoors chilling, cookout vibes. Maybe you're chilling with your lady very casually. Y'all are dressed down, you know, nothing super formal. But again, it's got intrigue and uniqueness, but it is fairly simple in terms of like when you smell that blend together, it's just like, oh, this is good. This is crisp. This is nice. So I appreciate what they did with such an inexpensive scent. Who cares if it's a clone or inspired by or whatever? This as a fragrance in and of itself is great. The lime nuance compared to Sedley, and I definitely smell the mint more. This just makes for a great fragrance. Highly recommend you guys pick this up. For the price, it will add a DNA to your collection if you kind of have less than 30 cents or so in your collection. That, again, it just provides a scent profile you probably don't have in your collection. So definitely pick that up. Maahir Legacy from Lataffa. Final thoughts, buy this fragrance. And again, do you guys have Maahir Legacy? Out of all of the kind of clone inspired by fragrances and stuff, I don't hear this get a lot of love. There's a lot of videos on it, but I feel that they're more like niche. When you think of Lataffa, you hear about a lot more other fragrances. But this does have high ratings, so people are buying it out there. I guess maybe there's just not a lot of content about it on YouTube. Let me know if you have this fragrance or if you're interested in it or have any questions. I'd love to share more of my experience offline if you need more advice or anything like that. But I appreciate you guys for checking out the channel. Appreciate all the little views, small and large. Just appreciate the engagement, sharing my love of fragrance with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and you guys are now exiting the scent bubble. Peace.